I should be tripping over them. I should have to try to avoid these princesses. This should be Princess World. This should be Princess Mania. Why are we so stingy with them? I did the research. I left my phone in a bathroom in Germany. You're the most tired and overstimulated you've ever been? Hey Disney, why is one of your princesses paywall? I'm on a quest here! I told a friend of mine that I was going on this mission, that I was going to Disney World, and while I was there, I wanted to meet every single one of the Disney princesses. And I guess I was feeling a little bit defensive about it, about how much time and effort I was putting into planning this. And I said, I know what you're thinking. You know, you're going to Disney World. That's where the princesses are. That's where they keep them. So this should be easy. And before I could say anything else, she put up a hand and stopped me and said, Kate, no one was thinking that. I have been to Disney World before, but the last time I went, I was 13 years old, and that was, oh God, that was more than 15 years ago now. So a lot has changed. I mean, I have changed. Last time I went, I wasn't that interested in meeting characters. Once you are too old to actually think they are the character, it's hard to know what to do with them. These were just adults that I didn't know how to talk to. But now I am old enough to be excited about the characters again, and yeah, I was ready to see some princesses. So, the mission is to see all the Disney princesses. That's kind of the bare minimum, to lay eyes on all of them. The real goal was to meet them. I want to look them in the eyes, I want to exchange words, potentially a hug shared, a picture taken, an autograph to prove the encounter took place. Depending how you look at it, this does sound kind of ambitious. That's 13 different characters, which is, I imagine, more than the vast majority of people would meet. We did have a decently long trip. We were staying for 7 nights, so that's a whole week, which sounds like a long time, until you remember that Disney World is 4 different theme parks, and 2 water parks, and a shopping district, and a bunch of hotels that all have their own dining and entertainment. So in a way, that is a very ambitious goal. But through the whole thing, I couldn't shake the feeling that actually it shouldn't be that hard. It shouldn't be that ambitious, because you know what? I am going to where the princesses live. I'm going to Disney World, that's where they keep them. And these aren't just any characters, these are the Disney princesses. This is the marquee character brand within Disney, and not everybody gets to be on this list. It is a select 13 of the big heavy hitters. If I made a scavenger hunt where you were supposed to find all 10 of this week's New York Times best-selling books, and the location I chose for the scavenger hunt was a Barnes & Noble, no, that wouldn't be impressive for you to complete it. It's still weird to me that this goal made an adventure, made a project big enough to make a YouTube video out of, when it should really be so easy that you could do it accidentally. You're telling me I go to Disney World? Not just the land, the entire world of Disney for a whole week? And I have trouble finding all your princesses? I just think this raises some questions about our priorities and whether or not they are correct, meaning whether or not they are princesses. Now, if you're gonna go to Disney World for a week with the express purpose of meeting Disney princesses, there's really only one place you can stay. Okay, we had available to us hours and hours of content breaking down all of Disney's different hotels and all the different rooms within those hotels and the pros and cons of each, and we didn't listen to any of that because there was only one place I was going to stay, and that was in the princess room. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Underdressed.
Oh, there's the queen. We stayed at Port Orleans, which is a New Orleans themed hotel. Actually, 2 hotels. There is Port Orleans French Quarter and Riverside. And these have been around for a long time, long before Princess and the Frog, which was set in New Orleans. And actually, it seems like it took a while after that movie came out for Disney to start making some synergy there, which is a little bit unusual for them. But now there are a lot of references to Tiana and Princess and the Frog in those hotels. Most of the rooms now have some subtle Tiana touches. And that doesn't sound like me, does it? That's not what I wanted. I wanted the unsubtle one. We stayed in the most aggressively themed hotel room I've ever stayed in my entire life. I actually think they are the most aggressively themed rooms that Disney has at that price point. I haven't gotten to experience all of these hotels, but judging from pictures and the many, many YouTube videos I've watched, generally the lower end value resorts tend to have more larger than life theming. The expensive hotels are also very themed, but in a more subtle, classy way. They want to immerse you in the setting and give you little nods to Disney movies. Ours was one of the moderate resorts, so that's right in the middle, although our price point was at the high end of moderate resorts. They have crammed this room full of so much decoration, but somehow when you're there, it doesn't feel overwhelming. It feels warm and luxurious and soft. Obviously, there are pictures of a bunch of the princesses. You know, there's a big portrait of Tiana, but there are also all these little touches, like the faucet in the bathroom is the genie lamp. There are little references in the wallpaper and the floor tile, and all the furniture has that kind of a castle-y royalty look to it. I really love the little pennants that have silhouettes of a bunch of the princes. They were also labeled, which I think is a cop-out. I think a real fan would know. I think a real fan should know who they are.
The prince.
And the beds. Okay, the headboards are the best part. They are so tall and grand. You feel so royal. And there's a button. There's a button on the side, and if you press the button, you get fireworks. Fireworks go off.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
You could not ask for a better start to this adventure than to walk into this room and be just instantly surrounded, cocooned, ensconced in princess. And hey, if we're just looking for princess references, if we're just looking for princess imagery and portraiture, we're off to a really good start. But that's not what the mission is. The mission is to meet the princesses, and for that, we will have to journey into the parks. Even if I hadn't been on a princess quest, I would not have left there without meeting Ariel. That is my girl. That's my number one.
Oh, the concert! Oh my gosh, my father's gonna kill me!
Ariel is curious and compassionate. She's determined. She's bright and talented and joyful. And Kate can be many of those things. There's one quality in particular that probably appealed to her the most.
Daddy, I love him!
Kate has a well-documented problem with being told what to do.
He's a human. You're a mermaid.
I don't care.
Ariel is a very interesting member of the Disney princess lineup. She is the only princess that appears in multiple aspects. They do her in a ball gown and also with her fins. And in the Disney parks, you can meet Ariel in a ball gown and you can meet Ariel with fins. I'm gonna go see my girl. I got all dressed up in my Ariel themed outfit in my princess room and then went to Magic Kingdom. Magic Kingdom is the one with the castle. And right down the middle, straight to the back, to a part of the park that didn't even exist last time I was there. New Fantasyland slaps. And I am very biased because most of it is themed to princesses. But I'm right, it's amazing. There's a whole Little Mermaid section. And they have the castle, Eric's castle, and it looks just like it does in the movie. And they're playing the song from the movie, and you just wander around. It is so cute. It's the song. They have a Little Mermaid ride now. It's not impressive. I'm not even sure it's a very good ride, but I had a great time. I enjoyed myself very much because it had all the things from the movies. The things look like the things from the movie.
Walking around, what do you call it?
And right next to the ride is Ariel's grotto. I had my little slushie from the Beauty and the Beast section next door, and I get in line and they've made this beautiful little cavern for the line to go through as you go to her secret grotto. It's so cute. It looks just like it should, and it's so delightful for 5 minutes. And after you've done the first switchback, you're now just standing in a crowd of people that is mostly families with small children that are not happy about being in a line. And you are in the world's most echoey architecture. They have built this place with hard walls and a high sloped ceiling for maximum stimulation. We weren't even in that line that long. It was probably about 15 minutes. but boy did it feel like an hour. But it's all right. All of the annoyance and overstimulation goes away immediately when you turn the corner and you see her there. And she's got the little, you know, and the shells and the tail and she's sitting there and it's fun to see her on legs in her ball gown. That was definitely nice. But it's different when she has her tail. And she's a real mermaid. And yes, she did recognize our outfits and was very complimentary. So I saw her. We talked and we hugged and we took a picture and she signed my book. But of course, Ariel mermaid form is only one aspect of Disney Princess Ariel, so we also needed to see Ariel with legs and ball gown. And we ended up seeing her, I think, 4 times. My favorite time running into ball gown Ariel was one of the more unique ways to meet a character, which is at a party.
Let's move this.
The Halloween party, I'm sorry, Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party was a lot. It was amazing, okay? Don't get me wrong, I am glad I went, but it was a lot. But you can't say there weren't princesses. There were a lot of princesses in the parade. But there were also a few that had stationed meet and greets intermittently during the evening, and I had to go see Ariel, because at the party, she brings her man. Ariel and Prince Eric together stop in front of their castle to greet their adoring public.
Look at this.
They somehow cast the man with the biggest eyes ever seen on a human being. I don't understand what he eats for his face to be like that. I'm sure he's wearing mascara. They probably put falsies on that man. But his eyes are just huge.
I would love your signature. Even though I couldn't collect so many. Thank you so much. I did make it. Yes.
He was curious. He was politely interested and asked follow-up questions. This is not behavior I'm accustomed to from menfolk.
They do click-clack when you walk. It's a little distracting.
And he just, you know, he's wearing his little uniform, you know, and he's got the floppy hair, and he's...
Wonderful to meet you. I would love one. It's so nice to meet you. Have a wonderful evening.
Okay, he's pretty. What do you want from me? I'm a simple girl.
Daddy, I love him.
We have a very exciting item here before me today. I have Kate's original autograph book from her Princess Quest in Disney World. You can see that it has been preserved in the original encasement. What we know from records about the origin of this wonderful piece is that Kate stressed for weeks and weeks about what item she wanted to have the princesses sign. An autograph book is, of course, traditional, but many people now go to Disney World and have characters sign clothing items, or bags, or water bottles, or art for their wall, and Kate spent many, many hours pondering what would be the best item as a souvenir of her princess quest. And of course, according to the literature, she stressed herself out long enough that she never did find anything, and she got something at the gift shop in the hotel. If we look carefully, in fact, we should be able to see that there are some signs of damage, some wear on the outer crease of that Disney Parks bag. This is not uncommon for artifacts of this nature, but it will slightly decrease the auction value. But if we just carefully take that out, and isn't that just beautiful? This is, of course, a souvenir replica of the storybook from the beginning of Disney's 1950 Cinderella. You can see our little plastic clasp there, and if we just open that up, we're able to look inside. We start here with a few pages that reproduce the storybook from the opening of Cinderella, And after that, of course, we have this lined notebook paper with Cinderella details. A lined notebook, of course, is not traditional from an autograph book, but for the right collector, that is one of the things that makes this item so unique. We can actually see here this first Ariel signature. This is one of 4 that appear in this artifact, and it is the 8th signature in the book. Something interesting about Ariel is, unlike most animated characters, we actually see her signature in her movie of origin. So this beautiful swoopy cursive signature that Disney Parks has given Ariel is inspired by the one in the movie. But this signature, of course, is made extra special by the addition of love right here. Love Ariel, and then the little swoopy underline. What a special piece. Oh, a third aspect of Disney Princess Ariel? Yeah, it's based on Ariel from the animated movie in a ball gown, and then Ariel from the animated movie with the fins. Yeah, the live actions are a separate thing. Live action Ariel is a Disney princess. Explain one thing to me. What is this? You getting that in focus? Yeah? Huh? What is this? I'm really glad I was able to meet live action Ariel on this trip, because it's very possible she won't be there the next time I take a trip. I mean, I was surprised she was still there for this trip. It's been a while since the movie came out, and I get the sense that her meet and greet is not tremendously popular.
It's lovely to see you today, my friend. Oh, it's wonderful. Let's swim on it together. We are. As long as you stay up here on land and keep that seashell around your necklace, then I think we'll be fine.
Oh, good.
Most of the character performers I saw were supposed to be portraying an attitude of being so excited to see you. Like, it is amazing and delightful to them to meet you. That's the vibe they're supposed to be going for, especially the ones whose characters are the most outgoing or bubbly. Some of them sold that, and some of them didn't. Some of them, even though they were friendly and gracious and bright, they were at work. You still felt like you were interacting with someone who was at work. But some of them, like this Ariel, like Eric, really made me feel in that moment like there was nowhere else on earth they would rather be. And it just sends you away with such a smile. On the day that I met her, I was wearing my Ursula-inspired outfit because we were going to see the new Villains show that day. So we were dressed villain-bounding. And if you're saying, Kate, that is in poor taste, okay, to meet Ariel while dressed like Ursula, you are right, okay? It was very insensitive of me, and I was concerned it would trigger her a little bit. But she focused on my shell necklace, which was very smart, and encouraged me to keep wearing it as I explored the above world. So nothing to worry about. So here we have one more Ariel signature that is appearing in this book. This is from live action Ariel at Hollywood Studios. If we look at them side by side, we can certainly see inspiration from the original animated Ariel signature, but it's been a little more streamlined, a little more simple. We've still got flowing energy from all of the swooping, and we do have some bubbles here. We've got 2 bubbles coming up and dotting the eye, but overall it's just a little more realistic. It's quicker to do, I'm sure, perhaps a little more readable, but how high the A has been crossed here lends a touch of whimsy. Here is the final signature of animated Ariel in the book, here appearing with Prince Eric's signature. This one is smaller to leave room for the prince, and it's a little bit chaotic, especially down here in the underline, which reflects perhaps the more chaotic circumstances. We're working with very little light, we're standing, we're moving around. Princess purists may object to having Prince Eric included in this autographed artifact, but for many collectors, this will only make it more attractive as we have more variety of the characters represented. And I got his signature too. Ariel signed it again, and then look at that. Prince Eric, he's in the back. I put him in the back because he's not a princess. So look at that. That's Ariel already in the bag, times 3. Aren't we off to a great start? Wasn't that easy? Surely they will all be this easy. Well, we'd been talking about this trip for years, but we actually started planning it about 2 years ago. 2 years ago is when we set the date. And since then, we talked about the trip basically constantly, basically nonstop for 2 years. We were talking about what we were going to do at Disney World and where we were going to go and who we were going to see and what we were going to ride and what we were going to eat and what we were going to wear. We talked about this trip for 2 years, and never ran out of things to talk about. The thing is, last time I went 15 years ago, there was a website for Disney World. You could get information there, and there were guidebooks that you could buy to give you recommendations. But that was kind of it. Now there is an entire industry around planning and hype for Disney World vacations. I'm not even talking about the actual travel agents that specialize in Disney travel. I'm talking about the content creators, the bloggers, the vloggers that only make content about imagining you're at Disney World and deciding what to do if you were there. We watched hours and hours of video about the best things to eat, how to get on rides with the shortest line, how to plan your days. And that sounds crazy, and it does feel a little crazy, but you know as you're doing it that you're not the only one doing it. Walking around Disney World, I knew darn well I was not the only one there with a spreadsheet. It does sound crazy to have a vacation planned where months before you go, you have a detailed schedule that breaks down exactly where you are going to be every morning, afternoon, and evening. But Disney actually expects you to do that. They almost require you to do that in order to do everything you want to do at Disney World. You need to know what restaurants you want to eat at 2 months in advance so you can make reservations when they open up. You need to know what rides you want to ride at what time of day a week before you go, because that's when Lightning Lane reservations open. It seems like Disney World just continues to get more complicated as time goes on, because as this industry of Disney hype grows, people are more aware of these tips and tricks and strategies, and so Disney seems to feel more comfortable making the process complicated, at putting up all of these hurdles earlier and earlier. And then, of course, the people in charge of Disney hype need to optimize further. They need to find better strategies. No one's going to stop you from showing up at a Disney park without a plan, but you have to understand that the whole resort is specifically built around you not doing that. It is built with people in mind that have sunk a lot of time into planning out the vacation. Now, this is not a huge sacrifice for me, because there's literally nothing in the world I'd rather be doing than planning what I'm going to do at Disney World. And if your agenda is very ambitious, for example, meeting every single one of the Disney princesses, then actually it's very helpful to have mountains of content at your fingertips telling you exactly what to expect. I was sort of in the one place in the world where that level of granular planning is not just normal, but encouraged. I had to jump in and start with Ariel, but let's take it back now. Let's take it back to the classic girls. To see the classic princesses, you might think you'd start in Magic Kingdom, the original Disney World park, but that's a gamble. To be sure you can track down all 3 of them, Snow White, Cinderella, and Aurora, you need to start in Epcot. To recap for anyone unfamiliar, Epcot is the Disney park that has the World Showcase. If you hear about people doing drinking around the world, it's there. They have cute little pavilions for a lot of different countries, and even though this was conceived as something a little more educational and a little more sophisticated and refined, they have integrated more and more and more of their IP and their characters into this part of the park as time has gone on. You can imagine that some of the characters might be a good fit because in their movies, they are stated to be from countries that have pavilions in the World Showcase. Like, hey, in canon, Belle is stated to be in France. Mulan is stated to be in China. And then they stretch it a little bit, so Snow White is not specifically in Germany in her movie, but the movie's based on a German fairy tale, so yeah, we'll throw Snow White in the Germany pavilion. And then at some point, they decided to accept a standard of close enough. So Anna and Elsa, for example, are famously from Arendelle, but Arendelle's kind of like Norway, right? It's kind of like Norway. It's inspired by Scandinavia. Jasmine is from Agrabah, but that's kind of like Morocco. It's kind of like Morocco. She's sort of Arab and also sort of Indian, and she's from Morocco now, close enough. I mean, in the Mexico pavilion, the character you meet is just Donald Duck wearing a sombrero. So I guess close enough is okay. We got to Epcot bright and early, first thing in the morning, so that we could be first in line for the Ratatouille ride. Amazing, show-stopping, fabulous, 5 stars. And then you get out of the Ratatouille ride and you go straight over to the French bakery and you have breakfast pastries of unbelievable deliciousness.
This is me right now. This is how this makes me feel. Like this diva.
And just when we finished breakfast and we're walking out into the courtyard with our little lattes, we see Aurora. I assume she was doing a quick circuit either right before or right after one of her shifts in the gazebo, and she was so sweet, just wandering around saying good morning to people, and it was so fun to see the kids notice her, and even more fun to see their parents get so excited at a surprise bonus princess appearance. I went over to say hi, and I know you can't hear what she's saying because we're pretty far away, but she is complimenting my outfit. It's important to me that you know that. If a character's roaming like this, I don't really want to hold them up for too long, so I don't necessarily want to do a picture and get the autograph book out and the whole thing, but I wasn't worried about it because I knew we would see Aurora later. In fact, I thought we would be seeing Aurora later that day. That turned out not to be true. So this was just sort of a little bonus. That afternoon, we had a reservation for lunch at Akershoes, which is the first of our character dining adventures. What's that? You're the most tired and overstimulated you've ever been? Well, come with me. You can have a $60 plate of grilled chicken, and 5 times during your meal, someone will walk up to you without warning and begin doing improv at you for exactly 45 seconds. Character dining. For the record, I love character dining. It's just a nightmare.
We must be having a girls' day on our team.
Royal Princess Promenade!
Akershoes came highly recommended. A lot of people seem to really like it, and I can totally see why. The food was yummy. The princesses were there. But character dining is the most expensive way to talk to these girlies, and most of them you can find elsewhere in the park. So for example, we got to see Snow White, and hooray, another princess down. But you could also walk over to the Germany pavilion and get in line at certain times to meet Snow White for no additional cost other than the very expensive park ticket that got you in the door. Ideally, character dining is worth the price because it's a more luxurious experience. You don't have to chase them all around the park, you stay in one spot, and they come to you, and you're not waiting in a line of any kind, and there's snacks while you wait, and what's not to love? If what you care about is quantity, how many princesses you can see in a certain amount of time, and really all you're looking for is a selfie or an autograph, I can see the appeal of this. But having met princesses a bunch of different ways, I will say that character dining is my least favorite way to actually talk to them. Which makes sense. You're kind of positioned awkwardly with them standing over you at the table, and there's noise from the restaurant. There's a lot else that's going on that's competing for your attention, and the princesses have much more of a logistical load than I think they do in other situations. A princess who is parked in one spot and having guests guided to them by an attendant, I think can be more focused on the interaction rather than a princess at a restaurant who is having to talk to the guest while also thinking about their route, thinking about which guests have they seen, which tables have they not gotten to yet, how long are they spending on this interaction. They're on a really tight schedule to be able to see everybody in the restaurant before they leave. You're trying to stay out of the way of the servers who are trying to move plates of food while you are there. There's just noise.
Right there. What are we celebrating?
I have to imagine that this is one of the most challenging ways to princess, and sometimes it did show in these interactions. None of them were bad by any means, but these were a lot of those interactions that I mentioned before where you did feel like you were talking to someone who was at work, which, to be fair, they are. So I did talk to Snow White. We did exchange a couple words. We got a picture in there. I got the autograph. But I don't know that I really felt like I really met her. I don't think she's at her best because she has all these other things to worry about. And I'm definitely not at my best because I want to eat my cheese. Okay? I'm tired. I'm hungry. I'm thirsty. Let me have my cheese. Look at that. Love Snow White. She's so cute. You can see we got a love here, very, very cute. This seems to be pretty common at Akershus. Most of the Akershus signatures have the love. The signature is nearly on a full 45-degree diagonal slant, reflecting perhaps Snow White's unwavering optimism. The S is extra swoopy, the W is open and regal. But the best part, of course, is the little heart to dot the I. And then last up in our classic trio is Cinderella, who is quite common in Disney World, as she should be. She should be the headliner in that park, so it's really easy to find her. Honestly, I think it should be even easier. I think she should be around even more. If you want to meet Cinderella without an additional cost, the easiest thing is just to go to Magic Kingdom and get in line at her permanent meet and greet. But we didn't have to do that because we saw her a couple times at character dining. She was actually at Akershus, and from what I've seen online, apparently that's kind of uncommon. She's not in the standard lineup there, but sometimes they have to do a substitution. So we got to say hello, she chatted about, mice and stuff. We got the picture, we got the autograph. Loved Cinderella, and it was a pretty solid meet.
Did you also? She said, "Bibbidi bobbidi boo, what a lovely story." Jack and us to Mom.
Apparently, the princess who is normally there instead of Cinderella is Aurora. Go figure. But it didn't really matter, because like I said, we would see them both later. So there's your classic princesses. There are some easier ways to meet them, and we took the more extravagant route of character dining. But I'm not mad about it, and I'm glad to see those classic girlies are still easy to find, even though a lot of very small children don't care about them as much or maybe haven't even seen their movies. There's still love there from the kids. I watched so many of those interactions between the princesses and kids, and I think it doesn't matter what movies the kid has or hasn't seen or who their favorite characters are. When Cinderella kneels down and her dress is pooling around her as she gets on the kids' level to talk to them, nothing can beat that. The kid doesn't need context to feel how special that is. And even in the rush of character dining, there still is a little bit of that special feeling when you get to hand over that autograph book and all of their movements are so graceful and so deliberate, and there are those little moments when the mannerisms, when the physicality of the animated version comes out, and you're just like, it's a princess. Here we have Princess Aurora's signature, which might be stylistically surprising to some. Here we have some very, very small writing, some very, very tiny letters, except for the initials, which are unimaginably tall. There is an elegance to this signature, and in fact, I would believe that this was a signature of a person in real life that has to sign her name a lot. And this A is quite regal, quite elegant, but I do have questions about the P. This signature certainly has a lot of character, but some collectors will prefer a signature that is a little bit more legible, particularly that princess word. Some viewers who are not necessarily educated in the princess lore might mistake this for a large balloon that then says Mimnus. Balloon Mimnus. So while it is important that the signature is included to complete the princess lineup, the legibility is going to present some challenges on the auction market. And here is Cinderella's signature, the first of a few. We once again have that love. This is an Akershus signature. Cinderella's signature does not match anything in her movie directly, but it is very evocative of the visual style of her film. Perhaps the swoopiest initial yet. The swoopiest yet, perhaps. We have another Cinderella here from another character dining experience, and this one, perhaps even swoopier than the last. Overall, this is a less restrained, less composed signature. The Cinderella starts to lose its way a little bit towards the end. And here is the final Cinderella in the book, once again from character dining. Here we have an example of the vertical Cinderella signature, once again with the love. And in my opinion, this is an excellent example of the best of both worlds. We still have a high degree of swoopiness and whimsy, but it is restrained. There is technique. We still do have a strong, straight line of the Cinderella. For some reason, people think I hate Belle. I don't know why. Oh, Kate is on record as a certified Belle hater. Belle is not in the Big Alliance because Belle does not like other women. So she's gonna try to make it on her own. She finds a good spot, immediately makes a fire for herself, thinking herself very, very smart, and the smoke draws Raya over, Raya ices her. Choosing between Ariel and Belle, they pick to vote out Belle because she's more unpleasant to be around because of how she hates women so bad. For the record, I do love Belle, even though she gets on my nerves. And it's super fun to meet her at Disney. It's also pretty easy. We actually saw her twice in one day, only a couple hours apart, because in the morning, we were in the France Pavilion right after that chance meeting with Aurora. I got in line to see her.
Good morning.
Good morning, Nana.
Belle can be a little tricky because she's really got a voice. Like, it's a voicey voice. And I was impressed by the interactions I had, that the voice still sounded close to the way it does in the animated movie, but not cartoonishly so. It still felt like a person talking to you. That's a hard balance to strike, and she really got there.
I've been telling them they need to add the gray stuff over there. We could just have Lumiere come over, or perhaps during a festival, we could add a booth just for the gray stuff right here for Lumiere.
It wasn't strictly necessary for me to see Belle in the France Pavilion because, like I said, we did see her later, but I wanted to lock her in. I didn't want to take a chance I wasn't going to be able to see her later, and I wanted to see her in a different outfit. The Disney Princess brand pushes the gold ball gown really hard for Belle. They really want you to associate her with the full ball gown with golds or yellows. But the blue and white look is iconic, and honestly, I think for a lot of people, that is still the Belle look. So it was fun to meet her in that outfit, and then a few hours later, at Akershus, meet her in another outfit. Navigating through that restaurant in a full hoop skirt, that's impressive. That's the most impressive thing I saw the whole time. Our table at Akershus was between two of the larger sections. It was kind of a pass-through, which meant that when the characters did their little promenade, we got to watch them go, and some of them do a little spin. And that was honestly a highlight of the meal for me. You get to watch Belle in the big ball gown do her little spin. Very impressive. There she is. I love her signature. It's so swoopy. Here we have the first Belle signature of the book. Belle's signature is adorable. We have a big swoopy bee crossed with another curly swoop. It almost reminds me of a treble clef. Here we have another beautiful example. This is from Akershus Character Dining. Just as charming. Just based on my own observations, Belle and Jasmine seem to be around even in popularity. Sometimes I would give Belle the edge, but especially among people in my age group, Jasmine has a real chokehold. So both of those girlies were pretty easy to find. They came up a lot in the parades. In fact, did I talk about Starlight? Oh my gosh, Starlight. There is a nighttime parade at Magic Kingdom. It's actually quite new, like within the past year, called Starlight. Dream the night away.
Come with me on a magical journey, kissed by starlight.
Starlight is incredible. 10 out of 10 recommend, which I say as somebody that doesn't particularly love parades. I don't even like parades. I mean, not normally, but I guess I love them at Disney. Okay, I'm not the weird one here. All right, they turn down all the lights so that it's all dark and you feel anonymous. And then they have everyone facing the same way, like it's a religious experience. And then they dazzle you with twinkly lights and this like score that was engineered in a lab to grab your heartstrings and like twist them in a fist.
And the star answered.
And the characters come out on top of these enormous floats. They're so gorgeous, but mostly they're so tall. So everybody is in the physical perspective of a child. Everything is so big and dazzling and amazing. And the characters are so close and they're real, but they're also kind of removed and still fantastical. And the themes from the movies are like seamlessly woven into the soundtrack. So all of your banked emotions from those movies are like pulled into the experience. And then like in between the floats, they have these dancers, and they're like carrying little lights, or they're doing these beautiful like ballroom sequences as they just float down Main Street, and they're smiling so big and giving it like literally everything they have, and you're watching people like living their dream. Like that is their dream job. And then there's an Elsa float. It's so gorgeous and she's stunning, and they have like wind blowing her cape back, and all of the characters are like tethered. They have a safety harness keeping them on the float so they don't fall, but they needed to disguise it better so that it doesn't look like a literal metal chain, because that's a little insensitive considering Elsa and her history and her trauma. But then there's a float of the princesses, and it's so big, and it's got 4 of the couples, and they're waltzing together, and it like all of their different love songs are woven in. And they like look out and they wave, and you're like, hi. And then they like look at each other like adoringly, and they're so happy. And you know, Belle's there. I was talking about Belle. She's dancing with the beast. And Jasmine's there too. She's flying on her magic carpet with her man, and like Rapunzel's in the boats, just like when she's seeing the lanterns. And then the last one is a big train, and they bring in the theme from the Main Street Electrical Parade. And like Mickey Mouse is there and whatever, I don't really care. And then Snow White's there. You see Snow White and Dopey. And I'm not the weird one for crying. I'm not the weird one for crying. Why aren't you crying? So yeah, Jasmine. There's a couple ways you can see Jasmine. You can see her also in Epcot in the Morocco Pavilion because, once again, close enough. She also has a spot in Adventureland where she does a regular meet and greet, and that was our backup. If we hadn't met Jasmine at Character Dining, we could have seen her there on the last day, but it was fine. We saw her at Character Dining.
Hello, Jasmine. You look changed. Oh, thank you so much.
And she was really fun to meet. I don't have the level of emotional investment in Jasmine that I do in some of the others, but I quite like her. And one of the attractions of Jasmine as a princess for a lot of people is her glamour. All the princesses are beautiful and have lovely dresses, but some of them really get that idea of glamour, and Jasmine does. I like her outfit a lot too. The last time I was there a million years ago, she was still wearing the 2-piece that's a little more accurate to the movie, and she didn't need to be doing all that. Okay, she looks amazing, but she didn't need to be doing all that at 1 p.m. in a theme park. And they put a little extra glitz and glam on the outfit she has now. It's still very much inspired by her 2-piece and the flowy pants, but they've given her kind of a skirt, and everything is beautifully shimmery, and she's got the huge hair and the big stone, and it comes together really well. We have a horizontal signature here, which makes sense because hers is quite long and is all appearing on one singular line. Like Tiana, she does use princess as part of her signature. And here we have extremely swoopy initials, but swoopy I would say almost to the point of illegibility. In particular, the P is to me unclear that it wants to be a P. It perhaps wishes it were a different letter, and perhaps we should let it be free to pursue its heart. But as befitting a princess of her level of glamour, we do have 3 different moments of sparkle. I love Mulan. And that movie rules. If you haven't seen that movie in a while, go watch Mulan. It holds up. To meet Mulan, we gotta go back to Epcot. Although she does pop up in Magic Kingdom sometimes. I see her on the app doing little meet and greets by the front of the park, but that's kind of inconsistent, and we need to lock these girls down, so I plan to meet her at Epcot. And she actually gets to be in a canonically accurate country. She's in the China Pavilion. Got to China, realized I left my phone in a bathroom in Germany. Doubled back for the phone. Now we're back in China. But like, where is she now? I wore my Mulan themed outfit for the occasion, and yes, she noticed, and yes, she liked it a lot. Mulan is so fun to meet. She called me warrior.
Oh my goodness. Hello, warrior.
Pocahontas, I'm gonna have to tell Mushu.
Oh,
I wish I was here. He would be
so-
so confused right now.
That's so flattering, thank you. She helped me do a pose and then showed me how to bow.
We can do some training, is that all right?
Absolutely.
Yes, lesson number 1 starts like this. We put our arm out for balance, and if we support yours.
And she's so cute. I wish they gave her a different outfit though. The outfit she wears is very pretty, okay? And especially up close, it's gorgeous. But I'd love for her to wear something more casual, at least some of the time, okay? Like Belle sometimes comes out in her blue and white town outfit. Just sometimes. Give her more comfortable clothes. Like Cinderella walks around in very impractical formal wear, but it's like her favorite dress. She loves that dress. She feels special in it. But Mulan is wearing formal wear that is specifically referencing her matchmaker outfit, which she feels uncomfortable and unnatural in. I think it'd be really fun to meet her in her Ping outfit. That would be really cool. But if she's gonna be dressed in something more feminine, I think it should be her victory outfit from the end of the movie, the like beautiful blue with the seal of the emperor and all that. And they could even gussy it up a little more than the animated version, you know, give it a little more trim and spangles. I do understand that like you want them to have a little razzle dazzle in the parks. It really does have an impact when you see them in person, and especially for kids. But I want to see her a little more in her element, you know? Mulan didn't have a line, which is crazy, first of all. Why do you guys not want to see Mulan? But they do have her kind of tucked away, so maybe people just don't realize she's there. In fact, I was specifically looking for her. I had her marked on my schedule and on the map, and I still had to ask like 2 cast members how to find her. They have her meeting outside the entrance to a show, so all the signs are for the show. Like, it's not intuitive that there would be something else in the building. I like that she's indoors, you know, that's more comfortable for everybody involved, especially her. But I wish they gave her a little more fanfare. I feel like people would go if they knew she was there. If they saw her, they'd go say hi. If we now look at the Mulan signature in this book, and there is of course only one, as Mulan is a little hard to come by, we see something very interesting and unique. This signature is written on the verso page of the book, not the recto as is traditional and as is seen in most of the rest of the book. Instead of using this blank page where she would be alone, you can see there's a little bit of bleed because she is sharing a sheet with Belle. This may decrease the value for the most discriminating collectors, but others may find it a charming idiosyncrasy. Okay, it has a lot of feelings about Pocahontas. Yeah, she'll probably talk about it for a while, but you don't need to keep all that in. There's only one place in Disney World to see Pocahontas, and that's Animal Kingdom. It's the middle of the night. We were only in Animal Kingdom for one morning out of the whole trip, so I basically had one shot to meet Pocahontas, which was a little stressful, but I had an incredible morning exploring the rest of the park.
So brave and well behaved.
And how you can help me make history today with the Time Rover.
And made sure to line up early so I could be the first to see her when she came out for a meet and greet.
Hello.
My grandmother wrote it. And every now and then.
So here we have a very exciting page in the notebook, the Pocahontas autograph. You can see that this signature is almost identical to the logo of the film Pocahontas. This is how the word appears in the opening titles of the film. You can see this signature is very angular. Not only is it not in a script, these letters are not connected, but each individual letter is very sharp and angular. It has been written in as many straight lines as possible, almost as if this is the way you would carve it into a tree. As soon as we arrived at Magic Kingdom on the first day of our trip, our first stop was to get in line for Princess Tiana. Okay, I'm seeing that's a lie, actually. First, we took a bunch of pictures in front of the castle. And then we had those cheeseburger spring rolls. And then we had coffee, because there was one called a pumpkin carriage cold brew. And I had to get the princessy one. But then we got in line to meet Princess Tiana, not because I wanted to meet Princess Tiana. I mean, I did. Obviously, I was delighted to talk to her, and she is on the list, but I was almost certain to be able to see her at least 2 other times at character dining we booked, so it was not important to see her at Magic Kingdom. We got in Princess Tiana's line to see Rapunzel. It's wild that Rapunzel does not have a permanent meet and greet. Anywhere in the 4 parks. She is so popular, and Disney seems to know that because if you walk around the parks, you see her on a lot of merch, you see her in like all the parades, but there is nowhere you can go in any of the parks to get in line under a sign that says Meet Rapunzel here. You can try to look her up in the app, but she's probably not even going to be listed. I'm sorry, that is so wild. I have heard from people that would be in the know about this that Disney is really conservative about promising Rapunzel appearances because they run out of Rapunzel a lot. It seems like they don't have a very deep stable of Rapunzel performers to begin with, and then playing Rapunzel for an extended period of time is apparently really challenging because of the wig. She wears a huge, heavy wig because that's her thing. And apparently in the years since Tangled came out, they have not been able to engineer this wig so that it is safe and comfortable for long-term wear. Because what I hear is that a lot of performers get neck injuries from holding that thing up. This means that Disney is always working with a really small margin of error when it comes to Rapunzel performers. So they will put Rapunzel out in the parks, but they always want to leave room for her to be missing. And it makes sense that you would prioritize appearances where it really has to be Rapunzel, like on parade floats that are literally built for her. And if you have to make cuts, you would cut her from places like character dining. That's the only explanation I've ever heard for why there is not a permanent meet and greet for Rapunzel. And honestly, that's not even a very good reason. Because, hire more. Fix your wigs. I'm surprised there isn't public outcry about this because the Rapunzel girlies, I don't know if you know this, but the Rapunzel girlies are insane. Hey, I love Rapunzel, okay? I mean, everybody loves Rapunzel. She's amazing. But the people for whom Rapunzel is their number one, okay, the real ride or die Rapunzel fans, they love her with an intensity and a single-minded focus that scares me. Rapunzel has stans in a way that most of the other princesses don't. So it's amazing to me that I don't hear more people griping about the fact that she doesn't have a permanent meet and greet. Now, because I did the research, because I put in the time, I asked the right questions, I knew what questions to ask and where to ask them, I knew how to find Rapunzel, which is to get in line to see Tiana. But Disney won't tell you this. They don't list it on the website. If you go up and ask the cast members, they won't be able to tell you. The only way to know that Rapunzel is probably in there is to already know it. And it's not that the information is hidden, it's not hard to find, but you have to know what you're looking for. I've seen a lot of fans who go to the parks constantly talk about this kind of information like it's obvious or like it's known, but I think it's easy to forget how difficult it is to know a lot of these things if you don't constantly go to the parks, especially if you've never been there before. The Disney World website and the app have a lot of information, and they kind of act like they are where you should be going for answers. So I have to imagine that if I were a parent with some princess-loving kids, and I was taking everybody on a family vacation to Disney World for the first time, that's where I would go for information. And Disney would act like they were giving me the answers, so why would it occur to me to think that there were things they were hiding from me? If the website has a tab that says, here are all the princess experiences we have, okay, here are the locations and times and pictures and prices for all of the princess things to do. If I'm looking at that, I don't think it would occur to me that they might be hiding things, that there are things they're not going to tell me. So what I really have to do is open up a new tab and search where to find Rapunzel Disney World Reddit, enter. I could have scoured the website and watched hours of those hype videos and felt like I did do the work, felt like I did do the research, and still not know any of this stuff. Why are they hiding her? So because we happen to know that Rapunzel is usually hanging out with Tiana, we got in Tiana's line. And because we knew that Rapunzel is not a guarantee there, we got in line right at the beginning of the trip. So on the chance that she wasn't there, we could try again. We could get back in line later in the day or come back a different day. But luckily for us, she was there right away. First thing, I felt so good. I felt so efficient and effective. I felt magical. We got in line at Princess Fairy Tale Hall, which was very, very cute, and they had a little display with the glass slipper. Ooh, this is nice. This is my kind of style. It did not take long at all. You get to the front of the line and you can't see the princesses yet. There's a closed door in between, but then when it's your turn, they open the door and they say, go right through there. You go down a hallway and into another door, and that's where the princesses are. And there are other doors in the hallway. There are other identical doors that seem to lead to identically sized rooms, but that's probably nothing. Don't worry about it.
Hi, hello. I like your satchel.
Yes, she did like my outfit. She liked my Snuggly Duckling t-shirt, and she was adorable. She is so fun to meet. I'm so sad they don't have a permanent meet and greet for her because she's precious.
You are the first princess I am talking to while I'm here.
Really?
So I'm like nervous and excited.
Oh no, that's good. When I left my tower, I was the same thing.
Yes.
I'm excited. Eugene says it's at odds.
And then next to her, of course, is Princess Tiana in her full green ball gown. This was the first of 3 times we met her. And because we were staying in her guest rooms, we had a very easy conversation starter.
Fabulous. We are having a fabulous day. We are sitting in your guest room. You are. Yes, and they're stunning.
Oh my god,
Like,
they
yes,
are
that was the
heavenly.
first thing we ate here.
So y'all know how to start the day, right?
Absolutely. And those are your recipes?
Oh, they are sweet. I just had to have it the way that I made them. But I can make y'all a special baked hash browns. How about the rest?
It was so nice. I love the permanent indoor meet and greets. It is a drag to have to wait in a line, and there's no way around them. They don't have lightning lanes, but you can usually catch the lines pretty short if you wait. And you really feel like the interaction has some room to breathe, okay? It still doesn't last that long, but you know, you're in there for a good few minutes, and it doesn't feel rushed. The princesses really have the space and the room to give you their full attention. You can hear each other very well. My one complaint is that they don't have real photographers, which is like inexcusably cheap of them. When I met Ariel at her grotto, or like the evil queen at Artist Point, there was a human being with a camera taking pictures, but here they have automated that. There's a sort of just box. So that was the only time we were able to see Rapunzel, but we did see Tiana 2 other times. She was at Akershus.
Oh, that is all right. It happens to Louis all the time.
She also was navigating that restaurant in the full hoop skirt ball gown. It's impressive. And we also saw her on our very last day of the trip at our brunch at 1900 Park Fair, which is in the Grand Floridian, but not in her ball gown, in her Bayou outfit. This was introduced pretty recently, just in the past couple of years. They designed this outfit for her when they rethemed Splash Mountain to Tiana's Bayou Adventure. The outfit is, it's pretty polarizing. A lot of people don't like it, and I do understand that, you know, if you're meeting a princess, you want them in the big ball gown, okay? Where's the glamour? It is really cute. It's a really cute outfit. I'm not sure it really suits Tiana, but, you know, she wears it well. It's just hard because we don't see her in pants in her original story. She's a dresses girl. I don't know. I guess I'd rather see her in the ball gown if that were my only time seeing Tiana. Maybe I'm a little bit spoiled because we saw her 3 times in one trip, so you know, sure, give us something new. Now, the first 2 signatures in this book are very interesting. They are, of course, of Rapunzel and Tiana, who were seen together in that first meet and greet in the Princess Fairy Tale Hall. But something very interesting is that they are the only signatures in color. This is because Kate dropped the ball, and she brought a Sharpie with her that was out of ink. It was very embarrassing, but luckily the princesses came very prepared.
I love your signature, thank you.
Of course.
I'm giving you a dud.
Here, I can see it.
Perfect, thank you. You're so prepared.
Of course, the artist always has a
So here we have Rapunzel's signature in green, and then on the following page, we have Princess Tiana's signature in purple, which is interesting because you would normally associate those colors with the opposite princess. So I do wonder if the markers were meant for the opposite princess and were simply accidentally switched. The Rapunzel signature is very special on this page because not only do we have Rapunzel's name, which is very beautifully done. I love the little curly Q at the end that's very reminiscent of Pascal. We also have a love, a little extra touch that we see sometimes in the book. And we have a catchphrase, very lovely, very valued by collectors. Rapunzel tells Kate to go live your dream. A special touch, perhaps inspired by the fact that Kate arrived wearing a Rapunzel outfit. Or perhaps that Rapunzel is that effusive with everyone. But I like to think it's because of the outfit. And it's wonderful that this is so special because this is, of course, the only Rapunzel signature in the entire book. And then next we have the Tiana signature. We have no love, we have no message here, so fairly straightforward. But it is interesting to note that it is signed Princess Tiana, not simply Tiana. We start with a grand swoop of a P, and everything in the signature is on an optimistic uphill tilt. And here we have another Tiana signature. We can see we had a false start with the P. We had to do that over once again. So perhaps by the end of the trip, even the backup Sharpie had started to run dry. Merida looms large in my heart. I know she's beloved by other people, but she's always been a little bit of an odd duck in the princess lineup as the only Pixar girly. I remember Merida being really big when Brave came out, but since then, there's been no sequel, there's been no series. Maybe she's just in that awkward age, where Brave is old enough that the people who were in the target demographic when the movie came out aren't kids anymore, but they're not old enough that they have their own kids and they're revisiting the nostalgia. Maybe when we hit that 20-year mark and the cycle of nostalgia comes around again, then we'll see a Brave renaissance and Merida will be back on top. I hope so, but signs aren't looking good. When I make content about the princess lineup, people consistently forget that Merida is included, and I don't see her well represented in the merch and the attractions at the parks. I mean, she's there. She's definitely there, but, well, anyway, I like her. I love Merida. And I also thought she would be really fun to meet in the parks. She's got such an exuberant personality, and she has the accent, which is super fun. So I was excited to figure out how it is you can meet Merida. And let me tell you how you can meet Merida. Now, once again, if you just look at the list of characters or the list of character experiences on the Disney app or website, you're not going to see Merida. But if you do a little bit of Googling or even just search Merida in the search bar, there will be indications that you might be able to find her. Disney is a little more forthcoming with the fact that, while they can't guarantee her, she's probably going to be there. And one of the ways they do that are in the little Q&As on the Plan Disney site. It's a little like Yahoo Answers service, but just about planning trips to Disney World. You can find the answers to such pressing questions as, hi, I was just wondering if all the characters at Disney World can sign stuff or just the characters that have hands. What characters can you meet that don't have hands? R2-D2? The responses on this site are semi-official in a way that makes them very funny. Like, they are coming from Disney, big picture, but they're not. These aren't press releases that are unsigned, that are actually put out by the company. These are from individuals. Like, somebody typed this, and it was probably like a mom of 6 from Texas that does this a couple hours a week, I guess. So the answers are always very much towing the party line, using the approved language, not giving more information than they should. But they also have a lot of personality in ways that I enjoy. And then they always, I think it must say in the manual that what you're supposed to do when you answer a question, they can never just answer the question. Okay, a lot of these questions have like 3-word answers. Never going to be that, never going to be one sentence. It's going to be a journey. Okay, a 3-paragraph essay. They're going to empathize with you. Okay, they're going to say they understand exactly where you're coming from in your desire to, see Merida. Then they're going to write a long explanation of how this might happen. And then they have to finish it up, and usually they integrate a quote. Like, they'll integrate a quote from a Disney movie into the last paragraph, and it brings me such joy. And it seems that if you ask on Plan Disney, where can I find Merida, they will tell you right out, look, we can't guarantee, but she's probably at Cinderella's royal table. They usually go like this. Does Merida have a meet and greet anywhere in Walt Disney World? Greetings, Kristen, and welcome to Plan Disney. I was absolutely delighted to see your question because Merida and Disney's Brave hold such a cherished place in my heart. This was the very first film my oldest son, now 15 years old, saw in a movie theater. Every time I think of Brave, I'm instantly transported back to that magical moment when I watched his little face light up with wonder as Merida's story unfolded on the big screen. Merida often makes appearances at Cinderella's royal table in Magic Kingdom. Blah, 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 blah. Kristen, I'd like to leave you with one of my favorite quotes from Merida. Our fate lives within us. You only have to be brave enough to see it. Magical wishes. Incredible. A lot of people have asked this question because people like Merida. People like her. And the answer is typically the same. The best you can do is Cinderella's royal table. Although a couple of them mentioned that she does make appearances at Liberty Square in Magic Kingdom. And that she shows up in the Adventure Friends Cavalcade. I would like to read my absolute favorite answer to this question and my favorite piece of written media I came across this year. Stephanie from Illinois asks, how are the dedicated character meet and greets determined? Merida is my all-time favorite Disney princess and I've never seen her when I've been to the parks. And then we get our response from Chantel in Alabama, my new hero. She gushes over the question. She provides a couple of suggestions even though she can't make a guarantee. And here's the last paragraph. You know, the flavor. Before I go, I want to leave you with one of my favorite questions I tend to ask myself when I feel down. As the brave Meredith once asked, if you had the chance to change your fate, would you? I always answer with a silent no, because I know that I'm exactly where I need to be, and dreaming big is going to take me where I need to go. I hope this dream of yours comes true, Stephanie. Dream big, princess. Chantel. I'm just picturing Chantel watching the movie so affected, so inspired. And Meredith says it, if you had the chance to change your fate, would you?
If you had the chance to change your fate, would you?
And she just goes, no. So we did that. 60 days before our trip, at 6 o'clock in the morning, we logged on with the fastest fingers we could and booked a reservation at Cinderella's royal table. Just like with Akershus, they tell you that there will be princesses there, but they do not tell you who, except for Cinderella. They do promise that Cinderella will be there. But there is a usual lineup, and we did get the usuals. So we got to see Aurora again and properly get the autograph and everything. And then this is actually where we saw Jasmine, and we did see Ariel again, which was all very nice and very lovely. And none of that was what I came for, which is a little stressful. Because as much as I want to defend that $90 price tag, because for Disney, it is not as obscene as people make it sound. But it's a tremendous amount of money to spend specifically to meet one princess without a guarantee you're even going to meet that princess. Because as far as I can tell, this is the only way in the entire park, in the entire world, to meet her. Hey, Disney? Hey, Disney, why is one of your princesses paywalled? Why do you have a princess that even your park ticket can't get you to see? You have to pay for an additional premium experience for even the chance to meet her? Hey, Disney? This is one of your princesses. Like, this is not any character. This is not even any character that happens to be in canon a princess. This is one of the capital P Disney princesses. You have canonized her. You have deified her as one of this ultimate pantheon of your heroines. You know that you decide who these princesses are. And you only made 13 of them, okay? Which is kind of a lot, but also not a lot when you have 4 parks and so many opportunities to put these girls out. Why are we so stingy with them? I'm sure there are logistical challenges in fully staffing your princesses, but that has got to be the cheapest attraction you have. All the work is already done, okay? You've already made the movies. You've already done all the work developing these characters and their personalities and their mannerisms and their looks. That's done the promotion for you. Everybody knows and loves these girlies. All you have to do is get one cast member and like one attendant and put them in the costume and send them out there, okay? Compared to the roller coasters you're operating, okay, the shows with huge casts, you can just put these girlies out and people will fall in line for them. How much? It costs you $6. Put the princesses out. What is with the lack of princesses? I should be tripping over them. I should have to try to avoid these princesses. This should be Princess World. This should be Princess Mania. What do you mean there's a princess that I can't find unless I pay $90 to go to a restaurant where she might be? Like some kind of stalker? It makes you feel crazy, okay? Because you're so nervous and tense sitting there, and then finally she comes in the door, and you're like, oh, thank God she's here, because what would you do if she wasn't there that day? You wouldn't have a Merida signature, is what you would do. It's Merida. When she came up to meet us, I literally told her, hey, girlie, we're just here for you. We just came here today to see you specifically, and it made me feel insane. That's stalker behavior.
Hi.
Princesses were everywhere, yeah? Has she got both her shoes on?
Last I saw, but you never know.
You've always got to triple check. I think I tripped over one this morning. I just find them all around your castle.
It's so wonderful to meet you. You know, we like Cinderella, but we came here hoping we'd get to meet you. Yeah.
It was fun to talk to her. It was a great meet. I wish we had gotten to talk to her more. Okay, maybe in a nice indoor setting where she had a dedicated line and dedicated meet and greet, and we could really, take a couple minutes and chat and get some good pictures. I know somebody's somewhere in a back room with data, they're looking at all the wait times and all the merch sales and all the movie streams, and they're crunching the numbers on which princesses are the most popular and which are going to command, the most attention, and like who it's worth to put out in these lines. I know somebody is there doing that calculus, and I just truly from the bottom of my heart don't care. I don't care what the numbers say. I don't care if it seems worth it. Put the princesses out. There's such a thing called a social contract. So if you're wondering how you meet Merida, that's how you meet Merida. You have to know at least 2 months before your trip that number 1, you want to meet Merida, and number 2, you've done enough research to know that there's no other way to meet Merida but to go to Cinderella's royal table and pray. And then you have to know what days, not just what days you'll be at the parks, what days you will be at Magic Kingdom specifically, so that you can make your reservation for Cinderella's royal table as soon as they open up, because they will run out immediately. You have to be a little bit extra. But we did it. We met her, another princess, checked off. Only a couple left. No decorum. Love her. So let's look at one of the last few signatures in the book. This is the signature, of course, of Merida. And what a wonderful example this is. You can really feel how feral our princess is. We can really see in the strokes, in the construction of the letters, that she does not care what you think. You may say illegible, but others may say this is a girl who has freed herself from the false constraints of letter formation. Because at the end of the day, isn't the letter D a social construct? The letter D can be whatever you say it is. And Merida says it's that. But you know who the kiddos do love? Moana. The Moana hype is real and intense, and I think it gets overlooked a little bit, maybe because it was so soon after Frozen, and nothing can compare to Frozen. But if you walk around Disney World, you will see that it is still going strong. A lot of kids in Moana outfits, a lot of merch that seems to be moving. Moana's integrated into most of the entertainment. She has a section in Fantasmic. She has an amazing float in the Starlight Parade. And she doesn't have a ride, but she has sort of her own attraction now. She has a walk-through edutainment exhibit in Epcot. It's definitely geared towards younger kids, but we had a great time, okay? We went at night, and it's lit up beautifully. Definitely recommend going at night. And I was edutained. I had a great time with the little interactive exhibits. Like, don't need to tell me twice. Yes, I will pass my hand through the water spout and make a little tinkling noise. Yes, I will do the hand wavy things just like you suggest, and the water jumps up at your gesture, and oh my, I'm magic, I'm Moana. There's beautiful carvings in the rock work and a gorgeous, huge Tefiti right at the end. And Moana herself does do some meet and greets by Journey of Water. She wasn't there when we went, and I don't know that she's there every single day, but she popped up a lot when I looked on the app. It seems like she's there a decent amount. But I actually saw her in Animal Kingdom right after I saw Pocahontas.
Hey, I want to come follow you.
Honestly, with her popularity, I'm surprised they haven't given her a permanent indoor meet and greet. I think she probably could command one, but she does have 2 different meet and greets in 2 different parks. And she was fun to meet. She really had the voice and the mannerisms and just yapped. She had a whole bit locked and loaded about Hey, and Kevin from Up, he walks around Animal Kingdom sometimes, and so she had a whole thing about like hearing about a big bird going around. So I'm okay with that. We got the autograph, got the picture. It's a cute little spot. I had a good time. Here is Moana's signature. Fairly simple and easy to execute, but very cute. Once again, we have a signature that is very similar to the logo for the movie, especially that spiral of an O is very distinctive of the Moana film. I knew going in that this was all gonna hinge on Raya. Merida was tough. She's only in the one restaurant and she's not a guarantee. She doesn't show up. She doesn't show up. And Pocahontas was kind of tough. She's only in the one park and we had one morning to see her. She didn't show up. She doesn't show up. It was always going to take a little bit of luck, things falling into place to get those rarer girls. But Raya's not rare. Raya's a ghost. Walking around Disney World, Raya is, I want to say conspicuously absent, but I know it's not conspicuous to anyone but me. No one else is noticing that she's not there because no one else is thinking about Raya. But I'm thinking about Raya. I'm thinking about Raya constantly because Raya is number 13 of the 13 Disney princesses. Raya performers exist, okay? There is a Raya costume. There are performers who go out as Raya. It does and has happened. I knew it was possible, so I had to try. And even though Raya is nowhere to be found in the shows and in the merch and in literally any other aspect of these parks, I knew there was one place. It was one place where she'd been known to show up. So on our morning in Epcot, the last time we would be in this park on this trip, after I had gone to Akershus, after I had seen Belle in her town outfit, after I had seen Mulan, I gave it a try. And I walked over to International Gateway to this cute little gazebo. It's very neutral, so it's easy to dress up for different characters. I think they had Mirabelle there for a while, but now she's got her own spot. And I knew that some people had been able to meet Raya there. It's the perfect spot for a character like her who seems like maybe she would belong with the Epcot characters, but doesn't have any country's pavilion where she would be at home. So tired and sweaty and overstimulated from all of the princessing that day, I went to the International Gateway, and there was a line. There was the click of photos being taken and the scribble of autograph books. There were beautiful banners and cast members directing people to come and meet a character. And I turned the corner, and I saw her. Asha? Asha, no last name, from Wish? From legendary flop Wish? She is not even a princess. According to the most recent journal articles, she's not a princess. No, I know for sure she's not a princess. No, because she's not even a princess. Like, she's not a capital P Disney princess, definitely, but she's not even a lowercase p princess. Like, she has no reason to even be an honorary princess. She's not a princess in fiction, and she's certainly not a Disney princess. She's not a Disney princess. I know that I couldn't expect to see Raya everywhere because her movie underperformed, okay? It wasn't really a big hit, especially since it got thrown off by COVID and all that, and she doesn't seem that popular with the smaller kids. There's not a lot of merch for her. I know that. But Raya in The Last Dragon was not half as much of a flop as Wish. Wish was a disaster. Okay, and for the record, I actually don't think this movie was truly as terrible as other people seem to think. A lot of people talk about this movie like it was like the garbage fire of all garbage fires, like it was this horrible, irredeemable piece of trash art, and I really don't think it was. I think it was like an average to below average movie. It was just like not very good, okay? There were some aspects of it that were actually pretty good, and a lot of aspects that were pretty bad, but like overall, like, yeah, I'm not gonna remember it, but it wasn't like the worst thing I've ever seen, and people talk about it like it was the worst thing they've ever seen, and I think partly that was because it was the 100th anniversary movie, and Disney put like all of this marketing behind how this was like the culmination of 100 years of the animation studio, and they put all these Easter eggs, and they put so many Easter eggs that really the movie was just Easter eggs. It wasn't anything else. It wasn't really a movie on its own, so I can't even say it was a very good movie. It was just a collection of references and Easter eggs, so I can understand why people would have like a particularly strong reaction when the hype was so high, when they were cashing in on all this goodwill of the country. But overall, it was fine. But it lost a lot of money. It got bad reviews. People, especially Disney adults, often really hate it. So I think it's fair to call it a disaster. Okay, Wish was a disaster. Wish was a company-wide embarrassment. I have nothing against Asha. Asha's a perfectly nice girl, but considering what her movie did in public, in front of everybody, why is she not locked in the basement with Merida? How does she have a meet and greet when Raya doesn't? And Raya is a princess. Because they didn't have to make her a princess. Okay, they pick who the princesses are. They didn't have to make her a princess. Nobody made them do that. They decided to do that. Why did you do that if you didn't want to do that? Why make princess if not going to be princess? Why call princess if not princess shaped? You decided to induct her into the all-star lineup and then put her away because you don't actually care about her that much because she's not actually that popular? Okay, if nobody cares about her and she's not that popular, why is she a princess? I'm on a quest here. A quest that should be perfectly achievable because I did not pick 13 characters at random. I do not have some like arbitrary desire to see my faves. I picked the 13 that you told me were your A-list. These are the Disney princesses. And I go to Disney World, the world of Disney. They should be there. And if they're not there, they shouldn't be princesses. I like Raya fine. I have nothing against her. She's a perfectly good character. It's just never made sense to me that she would be part of the Disney princess lineup, but I'm not in charge of those decisions. But the people who make those decisions also don't seem to think she should be in the Disney princess lineup. So who is this for? Disney, it's not too late. Nobody noticed she became a Disney princess. Just quietly phase her out. You still have time to fix this. If you want to retire this character, then retire her. Either bring her out and give her appearances and merch and more content, or quietly retire her. But instead they've chosen to have this lineup of their 13 star players where one of them is perpetually missing. We're just okay with the fact that never again will we have merch that has all the princesses on it. Never again will we be able to go to a Disney park and see all the princesses. I have no autograph for Raya. I have no picture of me talking to her, hugging her, shaking her hand. And this is not, we're not going to do a little fake out here, okay? This is really, it really didn't happen. I really didn't do it. But if you think I was going to leave that park without laying eyes on this girl, you're crazy. Because there is still one scrap of Raya representation left in these parks, and that is in the parade. I'm sorry, not the parade, the cavalcade, which is Disney for bad parade. This is the Adventure Friends Cavalcade, which I think is such a good idea. I have to imagine this is really nice if you have small kids, because it's at 11 a.m. instead of 2 p.m. in the afternoon when everyone's tired and it's more hot. And it's super short. Like, it takes a couple minutes for it to pass you by because it is like one float. Might have been one in a... No, I think it was just one float and then a bunch of walking characters. You don't get crowds forming, so you can wait until the last minute to get in your spot. It goes past. So exciting, big parade vibes, and then you're on with your day. And it's super cute. All the characters do a little dance. I like when they have choreo. And you get to see some slightly more rare characters. They bring out a ton of Pixar characters for this one. I was really excited to see Mary Poppins and Bert. And also Marie. Oh my god, it's Marie! Oh, look at her dance! And then on the float, they have some princesses. They have some of the harder to find ones. They have Mulan. They have Merida. Can't talk to them, can't hug them, can't get a picture, can't get an autograph. But you can lay eyes on them, and that's huge. And at the very top of the float, in pride of place, at the tippy top of the cavalcade, is Raya. And I saw her, and she saw me, okay? You can't see me in the footage, you're just gonna have to take my word for it, but what's happening is we are making eye contact. I said, Raya, and we locked eyes, and she saw me. And then we did the thing. I did the thing, and she did the thing. We did the thing from the movie. You know, the thing from the movie? You don't know. Nobody saw that movie. It's the thing from the movie. We had a moment. So I saw her. So if you want to know if I saw the princesses, yeah, I did. Did I get all the princesses' autographs? No. Am I mad about it? Yes. But did I have a moment? Did I have eye contact and a moment of princess understanding with all 13 of the official Disney princesses? You bet I did. And no one can take that away from me. But I'm so mad. I had been told by people on the internet that Raya could often be found in Adventureland, walking around maybe before or after the cavalcade, but not listed on the app. And I looked, didn't see her. I suppose it's not impossible that she was there on the days I was there and I just missed her because they don't have a permanent spot for her and they don't put her on the app. And yeah, maybe if I were one of those Disney hype channels, if I were a full-time parks influencer, I could just spend a day camped out in Adventureland waiting for her. But that is not my life. Well, thanks for going on this journey with me. I'm so sorry I could not give you a more satisfying ending. I guess, oh no, I'll just have to go back to Disney World someday and try again. Yep, as soon as I financially recover from this one. Hey Disney, anytime you want me to stop talking smack, you can fly me out to go back to Disney World. Okay, put me up in one of those fancy hotels and show me where I can go see Raya. Okay, my silence is so cheap. It's the biggest lie I've ever told. I've never been able to shut up a day in my life.
He's in his fancy uniform. He's got his big eyes.
12 out of 13 is not bad at all. You should be very proud of 12 out of 13. Now, had you had 13 out of 13, that probably would have been valued conservatively at $350,000 at auction, but 12 out of 13 is very nice and will probably make a very treasured and enjoyed family heirloom. Should you decide to part with it, I can offer you $6.75. Oh my gosh, yeah, of course I want to go back. I want to go back like as soon as I can. But do you remember how I said I spent over $100 on a single lunch? Yeah?
I'm trying to get rid of that. Have you been stealing things? Like the attention.
Kate has been, let me check my notes, drinking haterade. The leading research suggests that Kate is, let's see, what is that? Belle's #1 op. In my expert opinion, this is a Disney princess doll. This is my job.